Hi, welcome to Drawing Club. Today we're drawing Sigmund the Squirrel. So this is Sigmund the Squirrel, and to draw Sigmund you will need a pencil sharpener, an eraser to erase any mistakes, and a black marker or a black pencil crayon to outline with at the end, and maybe some markers or some pencil crayons to color with. But as usual, I'm going to use this gray marker instead of a pencil just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So, to start Sigmund, we're going to do an oval shape for his head. So, a nice, big, oval shape, just like this. And we're going to do another big oval shape for his body. Just like this, like a big bag of flour. Just like that. And then for Sigmund's ears, we're going to just make sort of triangular curving shapes. Like this. And remember, if I'm drawing too quickly, you can always pause the video and catch up. So the other ear will be the same kind of triangular shape. And then there's a couple of little tufts of hair on top of Sigmund's head. So we're just going to put those in right now. And Sigmund, like a real squirrel, has quite large eyes. So we're going to put in two big circles where Sigmund's eyes are going to be. Just like that. And then two big shining lights in each eye. Like that. And like this. And then a couple of curving lines inside the eye, just where we're going to color dark at the end. Like that. And like that. The nose is going to be a little triangle right here, sort of between the eyes. Like that. And then the mouth is going to be this kind of curving W shape. Like that. And then with a little space underneath for the inside of the mouth. Just like that. And then a couple of curving lines inside the ears. And I'm going to change the shape of his face just a little bit. So I'm going to bring this line to there. And then I'm going to bring his cheek out a little bit and add a little bit of fur there. And then back in. And the same on this side. I'm going to bring his face in a little bit there, and then out with a little bit of fur at the side, and bring it back in like that. Next, I think we'll put in Sigmund's arms. So we're just going to go down here where the head is attaching to the body, and just take it out a little bit outside the shape of the body there. And then bring the line in like this for the bottom part of his arm, and the top part of the arm like this. And then I'm going to give him his little hand, so he's got a thumb and then 3 little fingers on his paw. Like that. And then on the other side, we're going to take the arm even further outside the body. We're going to do this and bring it in like that. And then the other part of the arm will be there. And we'll draw the little thumb again. And then those 3 little fingers on the paw. just like that. Now, Sigmund is holding a really big green acorn. It's a new acorn, which in fact, probably a real squirrel wouldn't have a green acorn, but because they're too new to eat. But I was thinking that if I made it brown, it would be hard to see against the rest of his body. Okay, so basically, I'm going to draw the top of the acorn like this, and then a curving line there to make the top of the acorn. And then the sides of the acorn, I'm going to draw a curving line like this, and one like that, coming to a point at the end. And then there are sort of curving little half circle lines along the sides of the top of the acorn, just like this. There we go. And I'm going to put a couple along the top as well. It's almost like you're drawing the bottom of a cloud. Okay. All right. And then for Sigmund's little feet, we're just going to put 3 little toes at the bottom underneath that curving line for the bottom of his belly. And the same here. 3 little toes down there. And I've left a lot of space at the side for Sigmund's tail, because squirrels do have these big bushy tails. So I'm going to make a long curving line that comes out and almost to the side of the page here, like this, and then following it back in, making it nice and wide here at the end, and then a little bit thinner when it comes back down into his body. There. And then there's a sort of a zigzag pattern where there's the 2 colors of the tail. Just like that. And I'm just going to put one more line in with my, this should be my pencil. What you'd be using would be your pencil. Just tracing around the eyes and then down to the nose here, because this is the part that shows that there are 2 colors. This top part is going to be a red-brown color, and this bottom part is going to be more of a creamy, kind of light brown color. Just like that. Okay, I think we can move over to our outliner marker now. So I'm going to put away what should have been your pencil, and we're going to move over to our black marker, or black pencil crayon. Okay. So I'm going to start with those eyes again. And like I said, it is true that squirrels do actually have very large eyes. It's important for squirrels to be able to see well, especially to see if there's anything that might be trying to catch them. So they have very good vision, and they're able to kind of get away if they see something that's threatening them. Now, squirrels are mammals, and they're a kind of mammal called a rodent. And you've probably seen lots of other kinds of rodents. A mouse is a rodent, and a hamster is a rodent. And the other day when I was out walking in the woods, I saw a vole, which is a very cute wild animal we have here on PEI that kind of looks like a chubby hamster. And chipmunks are also rodents, so they're all sort of similar animals. But squirrels, of course, most of the ones we see here live in trees. That's their kind of their habitat, and but they do come in many, many different colors here in Canada. Most of the ones I see here on PEI look like the kind of the ones I see the most, which would be the kind of reddy brown looking ones. when I lived in the south of Ontario, in a place called Kitchener, they had lots and lots of those dark gray squirrels everywhere. And there are other colors of squirrel too. They do have that small thumb. It doesn't really work very well, but they do have a small thumb on their paw, and that does allow them to hold things a little more easily than other animals that don't have any kind of thumb. Squirrels mostly like to eat nuts and seeds and berries, and that's because their tummies don't really allow them to eat leaves. Leaves are full of something called cellulose, and it's very hard for squirrels to digest cellulose. So they really prefer to eat nuts and seeds and berries. I mean, if they have to, they will also eat bugs and other things, but it's not their first choice. Okay, we'll go down to the arms next. So you've probably seen before that squirrels, one of the things they do, because they stay, squirrels don't migrate like some birds and go somewhere nicer for the winter, somewhere not so cold. So they have to kind of make stores of food in the summer and in the fall, which will help them to survive through the winter. And so they will often collect seeds and nuts, and then they'll dig little holes and bury them all around the place. And then in the winter, they'll go and find them again and dig them up and eat them. And it's one of the reasons a squirrel's nose is extremely good. They have a very good sense of smell, and that's because they have to be able to find those stores again when the ground is covered with snow, so they can sniff out where they've left their food stores. And they say that squirrels usually find about 80% of the stores that they left from the year before, which really is good. That's most of the nuts that they have buried, they'll find again. And the ones that they don't, well, if they've buried things like acorns here, they'll just grow into trees. But one of the problems actually for squirrels is that sometimes in springtime, they actually have the hardest time getting food, because when they go back if they go back too late to where they buried those seeds and nuts, they've all started to grow and they're not really good for eating anymore. And so at that time of year, squirrels often have to eat the buds off of trees, which, they don't like as much. Okay. There's actually over 200 different types or species of squirrels in the world, which is a lot. And like beavers and other some other rodents, their front teeth continue to grow all the way through their lives. So they're often kind of nibbling or gnawing at things, and that helps them to keep their teeth from growing too long. They can kind of wear them down. Now, most squirrels, they don't really live in family units. They tend to stay by themselves once they're old enough to leave the nest. So they're different. There's a kind of squirrel called a ground squirrel, and they used to have a lot of them in this park I went to in Kelowna when I was a teenager. We used to feed them carrots and things, and they build tunnels underground, and they do all live together in a big group. But this kind of squirrel that Sigmund is, they don't. You'll often see them by themselves, or if they meet other squirrels, they seem to often get into fights. They're always chasing each other around and squeaking. I think because they're worried that another squirrel might find where they've hidden their food. There we go. So there is Sigmund the squirrel. We'll bring back the color version. So I colored Sigmund a kind of a mix of red and brown for the darker part of his fur, and then a lighter cream, light brown color for the other parts of his fur. I gave him that green acorn, like I said before, even though really this kind of acorn is the one he would want to eat, a one that was ripe and brown. But I made it green just because if it was brown, it would be hard to see against his body. And I gave him little pink toes, little pink ears, and some different colors of blue in his eyes, and a little kind of orangey red nose. But of course, you can change him to a gray squirrel or a black squirrel or a white squirrel or really any color you would like. All right. Can't wait to see you guys again next time. Bye bye.